It is always a good thing to buy Bitcoin at any price.
This isn't about another Bitcoin cycle. This is about a moment most people will miss and regret, because what Samson Mow is hinting at isn't just a price move. It's a structural shift already starting to unfold. Quietly, while everyone is still arguing about charts, predictions, and whether the bull run is real, something much bigger is being positioned behind the scenes. And here's the uncomfortable part. By the time it feels obvious, it's already too late to act. We've seen explosive moves before, but this time, the players are different. The scale is different. The timing feels engineered. And almost no one is prepared for what that actually means for Bitcoin. So the real question isn't if it happens. It's who sees it early enough to move. Because what he's about to reveal changes how you look at this entire market. Listen closely.
Well, if you just ignore all the financial engineering with strategy and everything like that, you can't really time the market and say Bitcoin is going to go up or down. You don't know.
Right.
So you always want to be deploying into the market because you know for a fact that in 10 years, Bitcoin will be much higher than it is now because it is this scarce asset and it is replacing gold. So you just have to be in the market. Like there's a saying, time in the market is more important than timing the market, And even if you don't believe that Bitcoin is good, then you should just put your money in STRC and let Saylor buy the Bitcoin. And he'll keep the 20 to 50% upside and he'll give you 11%.
For people that are not familiar with that product, can you briefly explain what it is?
Yeah, so STRC is it's basically a fixed income product. It's basically Saylor stripping out the volatility of Bitcoin. Basically, he'll pay you 11%. You give him money, he'll take that and buy Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin goes up 30%, he gets the 20% gain on it. So it's like a beautiful kind of arbitrage between those that are risk averse or don't understand Bitcoin and those that understand Bitcoin. Because it is a brilliant instrument, it's stripping out the volatility and giving people a stable income, and they don't need to buy Bitcoin. And those that believe and understand Bitcoin will buy Bitcoin. And in many ways, this is similar, possibly inspired by the Bitcoin bond that I designed for El Salvador, which was not on a monthly scale, but the idea was you buy the bond, you get a yield, which is covered by investing half of the bond capital into mining. But then after a 5-year period, you recoup the principal. So if you invest $100,000 in it, you know that in 10 years, it's a 10-year bond, you get back your 100,000. But after the 5-year mark, you get an increased Bitcoin yield on top of the base coupon. So in year 7, 8, 9, maybe your yield is 30, 40, 50%, or 90%, which is pretty cool, right? If Bitcoin is valuable, everyone will want Bitcoin. And that's what we're seeing. Countries will want Bitcoin. Companies will want Bitcoin. Institutions will want Bitcoin. It's just a natural extension, just like who wants gold? There's really nothing you can do except for complain about it because it's capitalism. If you want to get it, go and get it. Nothing is stopping you from buying more Bitcoin than Saylor. I think in a world where Bitcoin is replacing the entire monetary system, it's going to absorb gold. It's going to demonetize all those precious metals. It's going to absorb real estate. It's going to absorb a lot of things. There is no limit to how big Bitcoin can get. So it's everything divided by 21 million, right? So yes, strategy has a big chunk of it, but overall, Bitcoin is going to grow from 1 point something trillion to 100 trillion. And there's enough Bitcoin for everyone, even though everyone may not have one Bitcoin, but one Bitcoin can be divided up into 100 million Satoshis. So everyone will have a good number of Satoshis. But that's the nature of wealth. It will concentrate somehow. But the good thing about Bitcoin is anybody can hold Bitcoin. And Saylor has even said this too. He said, not everyone can have Manhattan real estate, right? But anyone, even some guy in Africa or Argentina, can buy Bitcoin. There's nothing stopping them other than their own biases or ignorance, but they can buy Bitcoin, just like Saylor can buy Bitcoin.
Bitcoin and gold has kind of like lost its correlation, and People are asking if the digital gold narrative is still alive.
Gold had a run, and I think it was largely driven by central banks buying it. And, it's normal. Central banks are centralized. They want central assets that they control. Like China bought a lot of gold. Also, some European countries, I think Poland bought a lot of gold too. And I think that largely drove the gold rally, right? But that doesn't really change anything because gold is still not very portable. You can have paper gold, or you can have small amounts of physical gold. And people don't really understand that there is a large drop off when you sell gold. It's easy to buy it, hard to sell it. You might sell it at generously a 10% discount.
Explain that.
Because when people buy it, they have to verify the gold, right? So there's a cost to that. But generally, gold is meant for selling, not for buying back, right? I don't know about Taiwan, but in the US, you can buy gold at Costco.
Yeah.
You can't sell gold at Costco. Right?
True.
So the distribution chains all exist to sell gold, not to buy it back. So a lot of dealers will give you a haircut. Like, okay, you want to sell your gold. What's the market price? You get 10% lower, 20%, 30%. And a lot of shipping companies actually won't take gold because of the risk too. And there are many Bitcoiners that I know that originated from being gold bugs. And they learned the hard way. Like they had a good chunk of gold and they wanted to sell it. And they took a haircut and it was very hard to sell. That's not the case with Bitcoin. So this is why gold is not as good as Bitcoin. It's like defective Bitcoin. Bitcoin's everything gold wanted to be, but couldn't be. But yeah, gold rallied very hard, and I think Bitcoin didn't rally. And I think the time will come when Bitcoin does rally, because everything is rallied except for Bitcoin. S&P's rallied, gold, silver has rallied, oil has rallied. Bitcoin has not rallied, and it's overdue for the rally.
Do you think Bitcoin is going to replace the monetary system, or have you updated your prediction on what would happen in the world?
I think it has to replace the monetary system.
It has to.
It has to, because the monetary system is broken. Like the U.S. is now 39 trillion in debt. I think when we met a couple of years back, it was 34 or 35. But 39 trillion is astronomical. And most countries have a large amount of debt. And there's no way out of it. Like Japan is another country that we're very interested in for nation state adoption. That's why we focus our efforts there, because it has the highest debt to GDP ratio, right? Something has to give there too. But Japan is a wholly different beast. They've been financing the world basically through cheap yen. And that seems to be coming to an end. But everything in the fiat system seems to be coming in an end. You could say it's pessimistic, but I think it's just things have to reconcile eventually. You cannot keep printing money and increasing the debt forever. And
my question is, it has been working, and yes, it's bad, but why can't it just continue? Yeah, the numbers are huge already. It can be even bigger. So what to everyday people?
I think the Bank of Japan is now buying most of their own debt back, right? So you can see the whatever you want to call it, the game of musical chairs is ending, right? Nobody wants to buy it, right? People are moving to hard assets, and that's why gold rallied. At least part of the reason why gold rallied, because you can say it could go on forever, and theoretically, yeah, it can keep printing forever, but eventually it loses some meaning. But more importantly, you're seeing fractures in the system. We're moving into a world that is more uncertain. Like, can you keep dollars forever and trade with dollars forever? It's this question mark.
How does the transition going to happen? Is it, because I'm trying to picture, okay, we're using fiat money, and then all of a sudden people are like, oh, this is not sustainable, and let's add Bitcoin into this picture. How does that work?
Nobody knows, but it's going to be sudden. So I think how it plays out is Bitcoin starts to go parabolic. It goes up to 200,000. And then people start to FOMO in because suddenly they're interested again.
Okay.
Then it goes up to 500. And then you see countries starting to get into it because, oh, guess what? We need Bitcoin now. And then that sends us up to 1 million. And I think there will be a time where the fiat pricing of things doesn't match. So you will be able to buy a house for I don't know, 100,000 Satoshis or something like that. It's going to be a really, really weird thing. But eventually what people will do is reprice things in Satoshis instead of in fiat currency.
Tell us about gold candle and omega candle.
A God candle is a 10K candle on the daily. And it's actually happened. We've had 10K days in the past. And omega candle is a 100K candle in one day. And we haven't had it yet on the US dollar charts, but we've had it in a few other places. I think Iran had a omega candle, Lebanon has it, Egypt has it in their currencies. But it just goes to show like the world is very turbulent right now. And it's only a matter of time before you see Bitcoin go up 100,000 in a day. And it could be from 150 to 200,000, or it could be from 200,000 to 500,000 in 3 days. Right? That's the level of volatility you should be expecting now. If you go back and look at the chart of the German mark against gold in World War II, the chart is like this over a 1 year period, up and down. I think that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing massive volatility. And the cool thing is the volatility to the downside is muted because we have corporations buying as a buyer of last resort right now. So the only thing is up now, volatility to the upside, which will shock and awe people. And they'll show that, hey, we were right. Well, there's nowhere to go. If you understand everything, where do you store your money, right? You want to buy real estate and get a Dubai happening where you're stuck, right? Real estate is highly illiquid. Even if you tokenize it, it's still like highly illiquid because the base asset is physical on the ground, stuck in the ground. You could buy gold, but again, it's not that liquid unless it's paper gold, but then it's paper gold and it's an IOU. Same for any other metal. You could buy a stock, but a stock is a wrapper for a company with management and with problems, and it can be replaced, just as we saw software companies getting replaced by general AI. And you could say, well, what about investing in NVIDIA or something like that, or whatever? But there's always something new, right? But a permissionless store of value that is bearer and immutable cannot be replaced. That is it. That's the apex predator of money. Does not get any better than that.